Perfect. So now you can just go back to Zoom.
Good morning, Bhante.
And then, so now we'll do the step 10 that we never got to. So you're going to move your mouse to your Zoom square.
This one.
Yeah, and you'll see in the top right, there are those 3 white dots.
This one.
Yeah, so click on that. And then spotlight for everyone.
This one.
Yeah. And now you're spotlighted.
And then
And now you can
share.
mute all. And now you can share your screen. Great job.
Okay, let us begin with metta.
Oh, a reminder to say that there's no class tomorrow. A reminder to say that there's no class tomorrow.
Okay. Let us begin with the metta. Before that, I want to make an announcement before I forget it. Announcement is that tomorrow there is no class. Tomorrow I have to go to Annandale. Our one resident who has been here for 1 year and 4 months. Her name is Satima. She is going to Annandale to get ordained as a nun. Then she will fly out to California to live in a nuns monastery. So Bhante, Sadhajiv and myself go there to participate in that ordination, and therefore we will not have this class tomorrow. That is the announcement. So let us begin today's class with metta. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. As we repeat every day with this metta thought in mind, let us focus our practice on our practice of meditation. Focus your mind on your breathing without verbalizing or conceptualizing. And then as you breathe in, you notice the breath touching your nostrils and reaching your lungs, expanding lungs and expanding the lower abdomen. As you breathe out, lower abdomen contracts, lung area contracts, and breath leaves the nostrils. These functions happen invariably every time we breathe in and out. We don't need any word to become aware of these functions. Since you keep paying attention to your natural breathing without any force or word, breath slowly becomes softer and softer, subtler and subtler. At that time, the body becomes calm and relaxed, mind becomes calm and relaxed, the breath becomes calm and relaxed. In that relaxed state of mind, any thought of greed, clinging, craving fades away. Clinging, craving agitate the mind, excites the mind, and activate the mind, and we don't gain concentration. So naturally it fades away. Greed, clinging, craving fades away. When that fades away, the body, mind, breath becomes even more calm and more relaxed. And then at that time you feel you are one with all living, breathing beings. So no resentment, no resistance arises in your mind, because everything is flowing very slowly and naturally. Then your resentment fades away also naturally. And then when the body, mind and breath are relaxed, slow, calm and peaceful, that leads perhaps to sleepiness and drowsiness. And we have to be more mindful, alert, to avoid that sleepiness and drowsiness. We must arouse our spiritual urgency. This is not easy moment to gain. This is very rare moment to have this experience. Sleepiness will not help to gain this moment. We must remain alert, awake and mindful, noticing rising and falling, and stay awake. Then sleepiness and drowsiness fade away. When it fades away, mind can become even more energetic, active, leading to the opposite of sleepiness, that is restlessness and worry. Restlessness is not limited to one thing. There can be many reasons for you to be restless. Maybe unfinished work, incomplete work, or planning for the future and going to the past or to the future without staying in the present moment. In this meditation, keeping mind in the present moment is absolutely necessary. And bring the mind again and again back to the present moment to avoid this restlessness and worry. And then you see for yourself, within yourself, the results of your very diligent, mindful practice. That is, you have been able to overcome greed, resentment, sleepiness, restlessness and worry. These are enough evidence for you to have confidence in yourself and in the practice. This practice is very beneficial. The Buddha practiced them, gained full awareness and enlightenment. With this enlightened state of mind, he instructed us to follow these steps to overcome these what we call hindrances. And therefore, on the one hand, we have trust and confidence in the Buddha. On the other hand, we have experience to gain confidence within our own practice, so doubt will fade away. And then mind is very clear, clean, easy to focus on the present moment experience of breath. What we notice in the breath is the same thing that we notice in everything else. That is, the breath is a very good, pure, clean example of rising and falling. As we pay attention to this, our mind becomes even calmer and peaceful and gain concentration. This concentration is not going to sleep or making you like a vegetable, but this concentration is really focusing on rising and falling without words. Your feeling rises and falls, your perception rises and falls, thought rises and falls, and everything rise and fall. They rise and fall along with everything else. In fact, you cannot keep up with them, so quickly they change. However, you can see the very nature of all things that come into existence and going out of existence. Largest thing to the minutest things, if you know, even atoms, subatomic particles, so forth and so on, you experience all of them. Whatever you experience, you definitely see them rising and falling, rising and falling. That way your concentration and mindfulness shake hand, work together in unison as a one unit. With this, let us keep practicing so that at the end we will gain some insight into the reality. By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the foolish, may I join always with the wise, until the time I attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering, may the fear-struck be free from fear, may the grieving be free from grief, so too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings ascend in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to Nibbana. Sadhu, excellent, excellent, excellent. Now friends, I want to continue my talk on equanimity as I mentioned last time. It is a very important topic because I will tell you later on when I finish this part. That is, I think you have already heard me talking about it some times ago, and yet today this is quite relevant to this topic of Satipatthana, 4 foundations of mindfulness. This is one of the factors of Dhamma. We are in the Dhammanupassana, mindfulness of Dhamma. The factors of enlightenment are factors of Dhamma, and we discussed 6 of them: mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, tranquility, concentration. And these are the 6 we discussed. And last week and today we discuss equanimity. So equanimity, when we have equanimity through our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. And also with eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind, we have pleasant feeling, we have unpleasant feeling and neutral feeling. So when we see pleasant object, now we are glad and joy arises. When you remember seeing pleasant objects in the past, we are glad, we enjoy it. And similarly, when we may think of the future pleasant objects to see with our eyes, we will have joy. So similarly, unpleasant object, we have when we see unpleasant object, we have grief, and so forth. Through our senses, we experience joy, grief, or pain, and equanimity. We discussed this earlier. Now, also through using the same senses, same object, we may have pleasant, unpleasant, neutral feelings, which is called feeling of renunciation. This is in Pali, Gehasita and Nekkhamma Sita. Nekkhamma means letting go. So, today I want to focus on equanimity that we acquire, we experience through our senses, and have in this equanimity is ordinary household gehasita equanimity. Gehasita upekka in Pali. And the other is called nekkammasita upekka. Gehasita upekka is when one sees an object, hears a sound, smells, tastes, touch and thought, then there may be some sort of indifferent attitude. Beyond that, person does not know what to do. Just feel sort of indifferent attitude. That is sort of a negative kind of equanimity. And ordinary people cannot go beyond that because the mind is confused. They don't know what to do with this state. Many a time we hear people, meditators, talk about not getting anywhere. They got stuck and everything is plateau, not moving. This kind of feeling they have, then that is sort of an indifferent attitude. Or one may try to gain something and does not get it and try again and again and again, then give up. Sort of hopeless kind of attitude. That is a kind of equanimity people may have. No any particular motivation for them to continue their practice. Now, spiritual equanimity is much deeper, very profound, meaningful equanimity, which is very close to wisdom. That is, just like anybody else, they experience things through their senses. The person who is not inclined towards the spiritual growth, spiritual practice, and always going back to mundane experiences, mundane things, mundane pleasure, sensual pleasure and so forth, they are sensual pleasure oriented people. And they cannot see the deepest way, deepest thing, thinks very deeply to see the reality. The reality is things are always changing. Ordinary people, when they experience changes, what we call impermanence, they experience suffering. As Buddha said, yada nityam tan dukkam. What is impermanent, that is suffering. What is impermanent, that is suffering. You have pleasure,
You on, okay. Hello, Bhante. Bhante, can you? Yeah, I think can everybody hear Bhante? Speak something.
Ashok, we can't hear anything.
Oh, we don't hear anything.
No, sorry, we can't hear anything. Silent.
Can't hear Bhante.
Can't
Can't hear
Bhante.
Bhante.
Okay. Hold Bhante.
We can hear you talking.
We can hear you,
You
Prasad.
can hear me, right? You can hear all right.
We can hear
Yeah, we can
Prasad,
hear you.
not Bhante.
Yeah,
Okay,
hear the
okay,
participants, but not Bhante Gunaratana.
Okay, actually, Bhante is speaking through my line. Yes, Bhante, you can speak, Bhante. Voice is low. Yeah, please have patience. We are trying.
Bhante's name is not there under participants right now.
Yes. Hello, Bhante. Thank you. Bhante, your voice is coming low. Okay, let me see. I'm just trying to see.
Bhante still don't hear you.
Yeah, I think we are not. Hello, Bhante. Thank you. Yeah, Bhante, your voice is coming low. Okay, let me see. Okay, just trying to see. There is a delay.
Bhante still don't hear you.
Okay, Bhante, you can start talking.
Can't see you.
Yeah, Bhante. You can talk, Bhante. I think it will be better for them.
Okay, Prasad, thank you. All right. Okay. Okay. Sorry, folks, that is not our problem. That is the nature of impermanence.
I can see you.
I was talking about impermanence. So this is very good example. So when we see impermanence, ordinarily people have suffering. That is what the Buddha said, Yadanityam tandukam. Whatever is impermanent is suffering. I believe this very moment you experience certain disappointment right now while I was talking. So the Buddha's teaching is 100% true at any moment, any time. This is an example. So one who is inclined to spiritual growth, spiritual practice, will not be disappointed, will not have dukkha, suffering. The same thing that other people experience, this spiritually inclined person also experience, but that person does not have suffering. Others, when they have experience impermanence, they suffer. Rather, a spiritual person who is dedicated to spiritual practice, who is mindful, who tries to understand things, understand this impermanence exactly as it is. So he rather be happy, full of joy when he sees impermanence. He is not suffering. Similarly, when everybody is disappointed with dukkha, he has no dukkha to be disappointed, because he sees the truth. Seeing the truth is source of joy and happiness. And Buddha said, Yato yato sammasati khandanam udayabhyang labati piti pamojjang amatantang vijanatang. Whenever you see rising and falling of all aggregates, that awareness, that knowledge, it makes him happy. Labati piti. Piti means joy and happiness. Piti pamojja. Pamojja means tranquility. So, equanimity is when one sees everything without any exception. He has joy, he has tranquility, he has equanimity. A spiritually inclined person practicing mindfulness diligently will have joy, tranquility and happiness or equanimity by seeing impermanence. So this person with spiritual joy overcomes mundane joy. Mundane joy. With spiritual dukkha, he overcomes mundane dukkha. What is spiritual dukkha? He sees everything is impermanent, unsatisfactory, without self. He sees all these things. And yet, he has not attained enlightenment that others have attained. There he will have a disappointment. He might talk to himself and think, I am also practicing the same way the other person practices, but that person has attained some level of spiritual attainment. I have not attained, I am stuck, I am in the same place. Seeing this, he have suffering, disappointment. That is called nekkammasita dukkha. Nekkammasita dukkha. Then also he sees the same thing that the other person sees. Everything is, without any exception, is changing, unsatisfactory and without self. Seeing all these things, he will have a equanimous state of mind. That is called nekkammasita upekha. So, with the spiritual joy, he overcomes mundane joy. With the spiritual suffering, dukkha, he overcomes mundane dukkha, mundane suffering. And with the spiritual equanimity, he overcomes mundane equanimity. Now he has only spiritual joy, spiritual pain, suffering, and spiritual equanimity. Then, using spiritual joy, he overcomes spiritual suffering, spiritual unhappiness. And then, now he has only spiritual joy and spiritual equanimity. Using spiritual equanimity, he overcomes spiritual joy. Now he has only spiritual equanimity. Now, spiritual equanimity also has two sides. One is equanimity based on unity. Other equanimity is based on variety. Ekasthita upekka, nanathasita upekka. Equanimity based on unity, he overcomes equanimity based on variety. What is the variety? He has equanimity through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. This is called equanimity based on variety, multiple sources. And then what is the equanimity based on unity? That is the attainment of the base of infinite space, infinite perception, nothingness, and neither perception nor non-perception. These are very higher level of attainment, concentration attainment called, sometimes we incorrectly say jhanas, but they are not called jhana, they are called bases. Now, this person so now we have spiritual equanimity based on unity. And the spiritual equanimity based on unity also divided into two. They are Dhammayata and Athammayata. Dhammayata means the person can think, this is my equanimity. The person may think, this is my equanimity. The my part in that sentence is still an impediment, because the person thinks I, my, mine. So long as the person thinks in terms of I, my, mine, equanimity is not pure. Equanimity is not clean, pure. And therefore, he overcomes that aspect, that sort of appendix, so unnecessary part. Now he has equanimity, pure, simple, clean equanimity. No I, my, mine. And therefore, that is why we call that equanimity is the sign of wisdom. That equanimity is wisdom. It is, we can equate it with wisdom, because the wisdom does not make any I, my, mine concept. Wisdom does not let the mind to create the notion of I, my, mine. Because wisdom knows that anything called I, my, mine creates problem. I, my, mine create problem. And therefore the person has gone so far in the spiritual development, that he gain equanimity, even that equanimity he does not possess. He does not think this is my equanimity. And it is just pure equanimity. I give you one example. When Buddha was teaching Dhamma, he is teaching Dhamma with utmost compassion, wisdom, and loving friendliness in order to eliminate listeners' suffering without any ulterior motive. He does not expect anything in return, nothing. And simply out of compassion he teaches the Dhamma. Pure, clean, true Dhamma, Sat Dhamma. But the listeners don't listen. While he is teaching Dhamma, they would do all sort of other things. Some people don't listen, but let the Dhamma hit their ears. They are not intentionally listening. Listening to Dhamma is not a very easy thing. I have seen when we give some deep Dhamma talk, people fall asleep. I have seen that. Even when the Buddha gave Dhamma talk, sometimes people sleep, not interested. At that time, Buddha is not happy, not unhappy, not disappointed. He maintains equanimity. Or again he gives Dhamma talk. Some listen, some don't listen. Still he is not disappointed or happy. Not happy because some are listening. But he teaches the Dhamma with equanimity. Or there are some when we give the Dhamma, sometimes everybody is listening. Everybody is listening. And still he doesn't show any difference. He maintains his equanimity. So whether none of them listens, or few of them listens, or all of them listen, Buddha maintained equanimity. That is the kind of equanimity called equanimity without I, my, mine, or atammayata. Tang, maya, in Pali word, tang means that, maya means mine. Equanimity he does not possess, he does not claim the ownership of equanimity, because there is no owner of equanimity. And that is a very wonderful state that Buddha maintained. Friends, because of this interference, our talk became a little short. I have to end this now. And I will continue it next week again and give some more details of equanimity. You may think equanimity, what is there to talk about equanimity? You may think. But when you look at it, when you think about it, meditate on it, there is a whole lot of things to say about equanimity. So next week I will continue this talk, and at least even if you do not practice this, even if you have not experienced it, you at least will have some idea of what real equanimity is in the Buddha's teaching. This is a very wonderful state. So with this, I want to end this talk and want to wish again that may everybody who are suffering from this COVID-19, I heard in some places it is spreading very, very fast, and many, many people are dying. In some countries, hospitals are completely full, and they even don't know how to get rid of their deceased or dead bodies, and so forth. It is such a devastating thing in their countries, and we want to wish them solution very quickly and liberate themselves from this suffering and live long in good health until they attain Nibbana. There are many who are in hospitals taken care of by very compassionate doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs. May they recover very quickly and return to normal life. And those doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs who dedicate their life, sacrifice their life, they risk their lives in service, and may they continue their wonderful, compassionate service for the humanity. There are many leaders who have been doing very wonderful job trying to accelerate the injection, vaccinations, treatment, and they want to expedite the process so that many millions of people will recover from this. And above all those who are supporting in one way or the other to help each other to overcome this devastating, very unfortunate pandemic, may they all continue their wonderful service and may all recover from this very nasty disease. Thank you for coming, participating, and encouraging us to continue these talks. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.